I think for many people, Bitcoin really is a risk asset, but this is, I would call them a group of marginal investors. They're not the core investors in cryptocurrency. They're people that are in Robinhood. They're people that are just essentially retail investors. And when something goes down in their portfolio, they need to raise money elsewhere. And we saw an extreme example of that in March of 20, when pretty much anything that had a bid was sold. And it was the long bond got sold, the stock market got sold, crypto got sold, gold got sold. Things that you would never expect to be correlated got correlated in a big risk off move. And I think we see a little bit of that when the Fed was clearly becoming a little bit more aggressive at fighting inflation. So I think that spooked the crypto market somewhat. But really, one of the greatest reasons for crypto investing is an inflationary environment. So the core thesis, if you believe that crypto is in fact an inflation hedge, is even more bullish now than it was. If the Fed is serious about fighting inflation, well, you better have an inflation hedge, because what if they can't do what they need to do? I think it's a little bit like, if I gave you a gold necklace and you said, well, Roy, I don't like this necklace because it's not a good inflation hedge. Well, there's a lot of reasons to like Bitcoin beyond the inflation hedge aspect of it. And I really see Bitcoin as a remarkable, innovative asset that combines many features of cash, of a store value with a fixed supply like gold, almost a collectible, and the ability to have it rise tremendously in value because it is growing in its utility. So it really, in some ways, combines not just an inflation hedge ability, but the best qualities of other stores of value, the stock market, and cash, because of course you can transact with it anywhere in the world. And that capability is literally growing by the hour. There's an enormous demand right now in the digital asset space for capital. And what's happened so far is that there hasn't been a good way for new ventures in the digital asset space to get access through the traditional capital raising markets. So they're looking to digital asset holders, people that have Bitcoin and ETH, to fund these projects. So there's an enormous demand for coins and for stable coins, USDC, Tether, and others in the space. And because of that, yields are very, very attractive. From the safest, you might call the spot rate of Bitcoin. Just like you can get a spot rate in investing US dollars, the spot rate of Bitcoin is probably somewhere between 1% and 4%, depending on where you'd like to put your Bitcoin. But if you get further and further into the DeFi market, if you're willing to make a direct VC type investment into a new project, the rates of return are even in the double and even in the triple digits in many cases. So this is an attractive return situation, far better than a US dollar account, which is paying zero, and in many cases in Europe, for example, negative. So we have that aspect of it. We have another aspect of it, which is, while Bitcoin is very, very volatile, yes, we admit that. And for maybe US residents, it seems like it's, why would you ever want to take that kind of volatility? But if you're in a place like Turkey, you're in a place like El Salvador, as we all know, interested in Bitcoin and making a huge transition there. In Africa, this is actually a very interesting place to put your money. And of course, not only can you get this interesting rate of return on it, but you can send it to your friend for almost zero using even Bitcoin itself is now in the small numbers of single digit dollars to do a transaction. With Lightning Network, it's literally sub-penny, with transaction capabilities of 1 million transactions per second coming for Bitcoin. So this, as a financial transaction tool like cash, is far superior to cash. It's far superior to the Visa network, which everyone holds up as the standard. I can't use the Visa network. I have to use a wire transfer. It takes me about 100 times as long and 100 times as much money for me in the business to send a wire transfer than it does to send $100 of Bitcoin, let's say. So we have that aspect of it. So that's the cash aspect.
Before we continue, help us clicking that YouTube like button and subscribe now to our channel. This shows the algorithm that you valued this information. And it helps us spread that message. Sharing is caring. And now, let's continue.
The other aspect of it that's very interesting is the store of value aspect. How is it better than gold? Well, for one thing, if you have gold in a safe, you don't end up with more gold coins when you open up your safe. Well, that is true with Bitcoin. It has a absolute finite supply. There never will be more than 21 million Bitcoin. But with gold, you can imagine there might be a technological advance that increases the supply. As the price goes up, mining becomes possible at higher rates at higher costs. So the price of gold actually can increase. The supply of gold can increase. So in some ways, it's not quite a fixed supply asset the way Bitcoin is. So we have that aspect of it, the store of value and the fungibility, as I said, for cash. And then the final piece of it, why is it like stocks? Well, you essentially can make venture investments. Bitcoin comes with a beautiful ecosystem of investment possibilities, just like the stock market. So there we have the three asset classes combined, and that's never happened before. That's the innovation. I became quite well known. It was a conference in Florida in 2012, and I found a gentleman who was putting one Bitcoin private keys in a hologram on the back of what looked like a Bitcoin about the size of a silver dollar. And I was giving these out, and of course, it came with an explanation of how
what was Bitcoin priced at then?
Oh, it's about $4. So it was really I literally couldn't give these away. I mean, I give one, I'd say, do you want more? And people would say, oh, no, it's only $4. It was like giving out pens. So it actually came a few weeks later. I was in a restaurant in New York, and I was wearing the same suit that I wore at the conference. And I realized I had a bunch of Bitcoins, the same thing, just weighing me down. My suit was hanging like this. So my friend, the maitre d', I said, hey, come on over here. I want to show you something. And I gave him my Bitcoin speech. And I said, here, take these. And I just shoveled a bunch of Bitcoin to him and then I felt guilty because I'd only given him a few tens of dollars worth of Bitcoin. And so I gave him $100 bill instead, on top of that. The reason that Bitcoin has not achieved the stratospheric levels that it has the potential to achieve is all of the criticisms, the environmental criticism, the volatility, the potential for regulation, the taxation, all the reasons that you shouldn't buy Bitcoin. That's why it's cheap and not at 100,000 or even 1 million. If Bitcoin gets to the market cap of a fiat currency, we're talking about tens of trillions of dollars. And that is, a multiple of 20 to 100 from where we are right now. Now, my view on this the whole way has been, it's probably wrong. It's probably not going to happen. But like a lottery, that it hits a million, let's say, of Bitcoin, or even 100,000 per Bitcoin. That's an unlikely outcome. But it's also unlikely that you'll win the lottery. Why doesn't everybody play the lottery all the time? Because it's a negative expectation game. My point is that Bitcoin is a positive expectation game.
Do you want to know one thing about crypto? I made over 3,000% in profit in a few weeks. Fact is, the traditional financial system, the traditional money system makes you poor, not rich. If you want to earn $500,000, $1 million, you have to wait until you're 50, 60, 70 in the traditional financial system, and you probably will still be broke. And you will be old. This is not a sexy combination, as you can imagine. But the question is, how can you start in crypto and make these profits? Where to invest? Where to start? My name is Gunnar and I'm from Germany, as you can hear, and things are a little bit different in Germany. More about that later on. Fact is, there are lots of different cryptocurrencies. It's a gigantic universe where beginners and professionals get easily lost. But there is light at the end of the tunnel. There are 7 key steps you need to follow to become successful in this market. You have to know them, and if you fail one of them, it's literally impossible to succeed in this market. Just an example, one of the key points is your exchange, and one of the biggest are, for example, Binance and Coinbase. These are trusted and well-established exchanges, but, and this is a big but, you won't find the super profitable coins on those exchanges. The unknown super profitable coins that get gigantic profits are not traded on those kind of exchanges. They are traded on much smaller insider platforms that are barely known. And I can tell you what those super secret exchanges are and why they are so profitable. And another super important thing are the right information sources. The point is, the internet is gigantic. There are hundreds and hundreds of YouTube channels, blogs, pages, and much more. And there are also market makers and influencers. For example, Elon Musk, he is not a crypto guy, but the moment he recommended Dogecoin, it went through the roof, to the moon, so to say. But why did he recommend it? Where did he hear it from? He didn't hear it from newspapers. And believe me, he is listening to someone. But you have to know who, and you have to react before he is reacting. This is really, really important. And these are only 2 of the 7 steps you have to follow in order to be successful in crypto. And if you want to know all of these steps in much more detail, and if you want to have a comprehensive checklist, here's what you should do. There is a link below this video. Click on this link and you will get the opportunity to subscribe to my channel. Click on the link and you will see a video where I explain the next steps. So see you soon. Click on the link now. I'll see you there.